So now, after we wash, we're going to have another table, assume, okay? Or maybe we're able to move the same person to put him in the kafan and to do the actual kafan. Here you go. We already wrapped the kafan into 3. I think it's we're going to meet the headphones. Remove. الأولى لا الثانية فين؟ طيب خلاص. Okay. Here you go. معلش خلاص بس بنجربها خلاص نشيلها بس. شيلوها هذه خلاص. شيلها كده. Okay, this is the what they call tuban or tibban. And I was showing you last time, a lot of people don't do that, okay? There you go. You're going to bring a piece of the kafan, okay? Extra piece. That is enough, and look at me here. That is enough to wrap around the person, and it should be up to his knees only. So a little piece like the short, like as if he's wearing a short, okay? And give hadi kafan. You're gonna put it like this, okay? This is gonna be at the waist area, and you're gonna come here and bring a scissor. Bring a scissor, and you're gonna cut the first legging here all the way up, and then you're gonna come from here. Okay, which will bring you this. I already had it. Here you go. This is how it should look like. You see this? Okay. You're gonna put the big piece of the short. So this looks like a short right now. That if we were to connect it together, we could make a short. Okay. So you're gonna bring it like this here. كله شايف كده يا اخوان؟ هذه التبانة واضحة كده دلوقتي؟ Here you go. You're gonna put it sideways like this. So this area where his behind will be, okay? تمام? Then you're gonna bring a piece of cotton, a big piece of cotton. You're gonna bring a piece of cotton, and you're gonna put it here. Or whatever is possible for you. Like sometimes we, like diapers or whatever is fun. But cotton is better because it absorbs and takes out the smell. So it's very hard to go through. So we're gonna perfume it or put hanut on it. Perfume it, and then we're gonna bring the body. So here you go. Of course, it's better. It's better to put the ropes down so we could tie it better. It's okay. You could have, of course you're gonna need ropes. You could have it under the kafan. Under the kafan, so it becomes easier after you finish, you just close it, or do it after. There you go. Now, this piece right here, you see this? The cotton, okay, just for the sake of show. This is gonna be under, that's it, under, and not up. No. This should be just under him, okay? And then you're gonna bring this middle piece, of the short, and you're gonna put it up here, up the waist. And then you're gonna bring the first legging and second legging, and then you're gonna you tie it. So if we move it up now, go up. Here you go. Do you see it? See how it's gonna look? Of course, because it's gonna be a little piece. It looks like shorts. تمام؟ واضحة كده لهذا التبان. So again, the legging is right here. You bring the inside of it to the waist area. You know those cavemen that they bring them in movies? See how the thing, it looks similar to that. But this is called tibban and this is the sunnah, not caveman stuff. So we bring these sides, and the leg side is for what? To tie on the waist. That's good enough. خلاص كده? So now we have cotton under. So if anything, what if something comes out of him when we are moving him during this process? خلاص, nothing. Just clean it with something, nothing. No more wudu, no more ghusl. So now we're gonna bring from his right, okay? It's gonna be your left. From his right. لا خلينا عشان الأخوات الأول. Let's start to the sisters. الأخوات. If you have 3 pieces on the kafan, if you have 3 pieces, you need الإزار والخمار. Okay? This is extra for the sisters. For the sisters, there's one more extra thing. Braiding the hair 3 braids. You braid the hair. You know how to braid hair, correct? That's my question. So, الأخوات 3 ضفائر. The hair, you should braid it 1, 2, 3, and then you pull it back on her back. So, فيش حد عندنا بس مجال شعر صح؟ فيش حد. Long hair. So you bring the hair, you braid 1, 2, 3, then you tie it to the back. تمام؟ كأنه as if you're combing it to the back, and then you could hold it with a rubber or something. You bring the khimar. The khimar should have an opening. You go through the head. Okay, can we make it stand? The khimar should be like this, okay? If you're able to cover the chest area and the bottom area with one piece, khimar and izar together, is fine. If you're not able to, then you make the khimar, you make the opening of the khimar to cover the chest, and you bring another piece and cover the leg as those towels. So if we have, how to do it like that? Here you go. This is for women. Men only 3 pieces. They don't need this. For the women, they bring this together. Tamam? They bring this together. Here you go. يبقى 1, 2 khimar ويخمر الرأس, and her head should be covered with a piece of الرأس. For the sisters, pay attention to this. The head must be covered with the khimar. Okay? You shouldn't leave it open. So if this is the head right here, we bring the right side. The person's dead's right, not your right. His right or her right side. And you move it. 1. And then you bring that left side and you move it 1. All that كده? So any questions so far? No? Best. So now let's grab the kafan and we do it inshallah. Bismillah. So we bring the right side. Here you go. Bismillah. You bring it. Right side. Here we go. His right. من اليمين. تمام? نبدأ من اليمين. We move. And then we bring the left. Again, hina, you see this? From the head, there's about what? 25. And from the leg, should be the same thing, about 25. And then this is 1. خليها بقى, ما تربطش, خليها زي ما هو. لا هنجيب الثلاثة. Number 2. Bismillah. And then we go, here you go, and you could put it under him. Okay. And then we bring the left side. So that's 2. 1 by 1. We don't do the 3 together. 1 by 1. We take 1 piece and then the left. And then 1 piece. تمام؟ نطلع الثالثة. بسم الله. There you go. 1 under and then under him, under and then we move 3. Okay? Okay. Can we اشكال امسك انت معايا شيل معايا التيبل من تحت كده معايا اعملها كده سايد بس you see it everybody see that here you go I have space from the head here you go and he has space ممكن تسحب عنه شويه يعني زق الجسم نفسه عندي تسحب كمان هتقدر تمسك عنه طيب ماشي اوكي هات لي حبه تاني So now we have how many should we have here? We should have 5, 7. What's enough ropes from the same kafan? Tamam? You bring it and then again, please, when you learn this, don't tie it too hard that they will be impossible to do it at the grave. Just do it in a way that 1, okay? 2. So when somebody comes, then at the grave, what does he do? There you go. Easier to remove. Tamam? 1. And then we bring the head and put it up. And then we bring it. So one by the head. Now the head has 2. And then 1 by the chest area. Because this is too big. Okay. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 should be here. If we have a 5th one. So you put 1 more here, okay? You see now the kafan? Again, we start from where? His right, up. And then the left, 1. And then 2. And then not the 3 of them together. Make sure. Why? Because if something happened and they're loosened, they'll all go together. But imagine if we take 1 out right now, then we have a second one that is covering. If we take a second one, we have a third one that is covering, and this is more protection for the head. After we finish that, we bring the coffin box, and then we're gonna show you how to pray on Janazah, inshallah, and then prayer Isha will be finished. We shouldn't go for that, inshallah. So we should take a few minutes, inshallah, to that. You could perfume the coffin if you want, just to make it smell good, or you want to make it. Now, the person, we're going to put him in his box, which we call a nash, or a kafan, they call it, a coffin. The Muslims are not buried in this box, okay? Forget the Samsung, not to watch anything, okay? Very easy. You're going to put the person in a box, and then we carry him together. And the sunnah is there is more reward for a person who follows the janazah. The Prophet ﷺ said that if a person follows the janazah till they pray on it, حتى يصلى عليه. من اتبع الجنازة حتى يصلى عليه. صحيح البخاري ومسلم. If you pray janazah on somebody, okay, قال له قيراط. You'll be rewarded as 1 qirat. They asked the Prophet ﷺ, how much is a qirat? What is qirat? He says like the mountain. A reward of a mountain. Or a mountain of Uhud. So he said, and if you follow it till they put it in the grave, this is not for the sisters, because the sisters are not allowed to follow the janazah to the graves. And if they do, they should either has an excuse, because maybe they're with their husband in the same car and they're traveling with them, but with the intention to follow the janazah, no. Because the Prophet told the women at this time, he says, thank you for praying janazah with us, may Allah reward you, but you get no reward after that, meaning if you follow the janazah. The reason for that women, when they go to the grave, especially family, and they see this right now, they see this dead body, and they kind of, okay, maybe, is it okay to kiss the head before we cover that? Yes, you could bring people in to kiss the head if there's no effect. Because Abu Bakr as-Siddiq went to Rasulullah after they covered him, and he took his cover out of his head, and he kissed them. And he said, طِبْتَ حَيًّا وَمَيِّتًا يَا رَسُولَ. You were purified, and in dunya and akhirah, inshallah. Always were good. And he put him down. And then his wives came in, and then his family. Yes, you can do that. But when they follow the janazah, women, they have so much emotion, especially if they're in this situation. You take the body, you put it in the grave, the feeling start coming back. Some of them shout, some of them scream, some of them cry. So Rasulullah said, "Khalas, you're finished. You did the janazah, you could pray, and you get the reward as a mountain of Uhud, a reward." So now we put the janazah, we bring it to the masjid. We're going to carry it and they bring it to the masjid, and this should be covered. Now we're going to show you how to do Salatul Janazah, and then we'll be done, inshallah. Because the barrier, it will be impossible to bury, or maybe we can show it in the box. When we come for Salatul Janazah, if we have men, children, women, like boys and girls, then the men comes first in front of the imam, and then the boys, and then the sisters, and then the little girls, if we have them. If not, if we have only men, the imam will stand where? Next, in front of the head. So a person who's going to lead the salah, he should, of course, it's impossible to make this face the qibla. So any way that he lays down is fine, or she lays down. The imam, when he talks, when he comes, he should be on the head. And then for the women, he should be right here in the middle, and so on. So we start Salat al-Janazah. We have the person must be present for us to do Janazah. How are we doing Janazah? We're gonna do the prayers in front of you, as if this, of course, you have to face the Qibla. So if I'm standing, and everybody's standing in lines, and the more lines, the better. So we're gonna say, intention in our mind that we're doing Salat al-Janazah, which is 4 takbirat, and no sujood and ruku. So the first takbirah is Allahu Akbar, and then A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and you read Surah Al-Fatiha after the first takbirah. Second takbirah, you could raise your hand, you could leave your hand the way they are, and just say Allahu Akbar. Both are fine. So say Allahu Akbar, and then you say the last part of the tashahhud. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, kama sallayta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ali Ibrahim, innaka Hamidun Majid. The last part of a tashahhud, which we do in the salah, which is called as Salatul Ibrahimiyyah, the last part. So you say that, and then they now say Allahu Akbar. Again, you raise your hand, you can raise your hand. It's a fiqh issue. Disagreement, keep it away from this workshop. We're only here to teach right now. You raise your hand, not raising the hand, both are correct, inshallah, and both are fine. So you say Allahu Akbar. You make the third takbirah, you make a dua for the person who passed away. Which is the best dua to make? What the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And I'm telling you right now, learn these du'as so you're not stuck in a janazah and you don't know what to say. Don't say, inshallah, when the janazah happen, we'll talk about it. No, learn it now, so if the janazah happen, you know what you're going to say. You're prepared. Better than standing there saying, what am I going to say? May Allah forgive him. And then the imam goes long, like 10 minutes, and you're only there thinking what to say. So learn the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, what to say. Make any dua from your heart to the person who's dead, and when it comes from the heart, inshallah, will be accepted, your dua to your brother and sister. Fourth takbir, Allahu Akbar. Then you say, oh Allah, forgive me and the rest of the Muslims. And then you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Or one time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, because in Mecca and Medina, they follow the Hanbali madhab. So they only do the salam on the right side. So if you notice that when you go Umrah or Hajj, when they say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, just finish with them. Say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're done. You don't need the second one. If the Imam does both, first and second, then you do both. So the first takbirah, what do we say after? Surah Al-Fatiha. Second takbirah, the last part of the tashahhud. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Third takbirah, dua for the deceased, for the person who passed away. Fourth takbirah, you make dua for yourself and the rest of the Muslims, and the salah is over. Janazah is finished. The washing is finished. And you're going to take him, move him to the grave now. There is more reward if you follow this janazah till you get it to the grave. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you pray on it, you get qirat, one mountain of reward, of hasanat. Okay, what if I follow the janazah till I get to the grave? You're rewarded 2 mountains of hasanat. Again, this is for the brothers to follow the janazah up to the graves. The sunnah, as soon as you finish, you carry the janazah very quickly. You carry the janazah, and when you get when you carry the janazah, we're gonna move it. What if somebody comes late right now and he didn't pray janazah? Wait till you get to the grave and then pray janazah before you put it in the grave. What if I come late and I miss a takbirah, or I came in after the imam said Allahu Akbar 2 times? Then do what the imam does. So if you come after the 3rd takbirah, say Allahu Akbar. The imam is going to do what? Say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, the 3rd takbirah. You should say with him. And then 4th takbirah, you should make dua. And then when he's finished, if the janazah is still down, then you do Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What you missed. You do the 2 that you missed at the beginning. If the janazah is down, if they carried and they moved, and I have 2 to make up, I should just say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah with the imam, and I'm done. Even though I didn't do 4 takbirah. So either, so if I come in, for example, that's his last takbir, and I come Allahu Akbar. Now, what am I going to do? I could say Allahu Akbar, if it's down, and then do the second one is Salah ala Nabi, and then 3rd one is the dua, and then Assalamu alaikum, because I did the 4th one. If they pick it up and they're going to move, then I just say Assalamu alaikum, and inshallah the same reward will be given to you whether you do that or this. Now we're going to take it, and this is the last, if you give me inshallah 5 minutes, and then we'll pray Isha, so we're going to stay after Isha. When we take it, when we carry the janazah, we carry it and we move to the grave. The walking, now it's almost impossible because they ride cars, okay, and they have to put them in cars. The sunnah is to walk with the janazah, if it's possible. But if it's not, then how do we walk? Okay, we should not be walking like this. No, not like that. And we should not be running with the janazah. No. It's a walk that is between walking and running. So if you're walking, you're kind of moving fast. They say it's faster than your normal walk. So if you walk already slow, then it should be a little bit faster. If you walk fast, then it should be a little bit faster. But it should not be running. Because some people, they think if they run, they'll get it there faster, so it's better. Same thing when driving the cars. We could drive on a speed limit that is maybe 35. We shouldn't be speeding and running. The janazah should be up front. And we all follow the back of the janazah. If it's riding, okay, the people who ride follows the janazah. Forgive me. The people who ride goes up in front of the janazah. The people who walk follows the janazah. And the sunnah is to switch. The more reward you carry the janazah. So we come and say, the wording itself don't have anything. There is no wording. You just tell him that you're moving. Okay, he moves, you carry it. He comes back, or somebody else comes back, takes it from you, and so on till you get it to the grave. Okay? What should we say when we're walking? Nothing. Because this janazah right here is already speaking. Rasulullah said, when the janazah is being carried on the back, it screams out loud, saying that everybody could hear it, meaning every creation except humans and jinn. If it's good, it will say, hurry up. Get me to my grave. That's why, in reality, some janazat, you find them very fast. Just maybe 20 minutes, you get to the graves. Sometimes it takes forever. It doesn't mean anything. It could be a good sign that it's moving fast, but maybe these people are driving fast. Because sometimes when we drive slow or there's a traffic, they tell you, oh, what's wrong with this person? Maybe he did something wrong. That's why him getting there takes longer. No hadith. Nothing that says if he's going fast, it means good. If he's going slow, it means bad. But we should be going kind of fast. Why? Because the best that you could do to the person who died is put him in the grave, bury him. Ikram. If you want to be generous to your guests, if you have guests over your house, what do you do to them? You bring them food, right? And you tell them eat. You want to be generous to somebody who died? You shouldn't delay him. People, they delay till people come from the Bay Area. People, they delay till people come from different states. People, they leave the dead body in the house for 3 days, or maybe in the hospital for 5 days. Why? Because family are coming over. So we have to wait for them. Don't wait for nobody. If you're able to bury this person, he died in the morning, and you're able to make it by Dhuhr, go ahead. If you're able to make it by Asr, go ahead. If you're going to delay till Maghrib, no problem. If you're able to make Maghrib or Isha, you choose Maghrib. Don't wait for Isha, and so on. Even if his family are going to come by Isha time, even if his family are going to come by Isha time. Why? Because what mattered to the person who died, to the janazah, is not the family. Is him. Him going to his grave. Him meeting his Lord. Him returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're going to move him to the grave. Let's take the janazah out. Okay. We're going to take this janazah. شيخ يوسف هذا صاحي مش عايز مش ميت. طيب لو تظن ان هو ميت ولا حاجه مش هنصلي. لسه جاي بس. نبعد شويه. لا فعلا. Imagine he's in his house. They treat him very badly. Not very slow. We're gonna assume that this is a grave now. Okay? This is a grave. Just assume that this is the opening of the grave. This is the grave right here. The grave is in two ways. Either the opening is from the right side and the rest is covered, or in the middle. Most of the graves here are in the middle. Okay? اللي هو الشق مش اللحم. اللحم, we open this side of the grave, and the rest of the grave stays covered. In America, what they do, they open the middle side. So you have a hole and then the middle. You bring the person who's dead. You carry him very gently. If it's a man, anybody could carry him. Okay? If it's a woman, her relatives, or anybody. Or anybody. What if there's only her father? We're going to let him carry her by himself? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his daughter passed away, and he asked the Sahaba, he says, anyone who, the hadith says, anyone who had a night with his wife yesterday, or anyone who was impure yesterday, should not carry the janazah with us. Meaning to put it where? In the grave. So Talha radiallahu anhu came and said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm good. I was away. He said, you could come. So he carried who? Rasulullah's daughter. If it was not allowed, Rasulullah would have done it himself. And her husband, Uthman radiallahu anhu, was there. Her husband was there. But he says, her husband yesterday, that's why Rasulullah gave that excuse. The ulama who took that, it's not possible. Said because her husband was impure yesterday, so he didn't want to embarrass him. There is no dalil for that, really. If we assume that, that's fine. But if Talha was able to carry the daughter of Rasulullah, then what? Then inshallah anybody. If her family are there, it's better for the family to carry. Her father, her husband, her brother, her whatever, any family. If not, we all help inshallah, but it shouldn't be so many people. Okay? And we carry in a way that we don't harm the body. And 2 people are not enough. You know, when the person dies, they are very heavy. So 2 people are not enough. So maybe 3 people carry it. And this is how we're going to put him in the grave. How are we going to put the grave? We're going to have his right side in the grave and his face facing the Qibla. So his body as if he's laying down. So turn around like we sleep. That's his right side. We're going to put it inside the grave, turn it like this. You see? Okay? Not all the way on their side. No. Tilted like this. Why? Because if we put them like this, it's harm for them. But if you put somebody like that, it's a resting position. So we put them in the grave, heads first. If we are able to bring, the head goes first in the grave. So if he goes down, and the box, let's assume you're down there. We give him the head first. He takes it in, all the way in, and then we put the person on the side, and put some dust behind his back. So we keep him standing, and some sand in front. So the person is held in between, so he won't fall to the right or to the left. And then, remember, we untie this. The ropes that we have done, are untied. Should we open the coffin? No. لا فيس ولا غير. We open it. We open the rope, and we loosen the coffin a little bit, and then we keep it on the side, and that's it. Shouldn't remove the coffin. Shouldn't remove it. You shouldn't open it. No. And then you bring the cover. Of course, here they have those sheets covered. They put it on the top, and then they put the dust on it, and they put the ground on it, and then the person is covered. Some people, they do this. They come here, and they open the face. Okay? And they open the face like this, and they keep it like this in the grave. Why? Because when the angels will set him up, they'll be able to speak. No. Leave it covered and don't worry about it. Leave it covered and don't worry about it. They'll come and ask him. What if the grave is not facing the Qibla? Then you put him in the position if the grave is this way. Okay? Now, if you're gonna be putting the person this way, and the grave is somehow going this way, there is no way to put him on the side, because if we put him on the side, he would not be facing the Qibla. You should put him in a way that if he sits, see, if we put the person now on his right side, where is he gonna be facing? This way. And if we put him here, he's gonna be facing this way. So what should we do? We put him straight into a position that if he sits up, his face will be facing the Qibla. So if he's laying down in his grave like this, as soon as the angels, they will come, they will set him up. So if he sits up, he's facing his Qibla. So a lot of people, when they go in, they don't pay attention to these little matters. They just go, put the person and leave. It doesn't matter he's facing Qibla, not facing Qibla. These are important sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then you go make dua for the person at the grave, individually or in a group, and then you bury the person. You shouldn't sit down till you put him in the grave. Make dua for him like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did, and then you leave very quietly. And again, increase your dua for him, and do not remember anything except death at that moment. Don't get yourself full with dunya and matter and get distracted very fast. Try to keep it a little bit into the position of the grave, because this is the first stage of your next life. Uthman, when he used to sit at the grave, he used to cry. قالوا له لما تبكي تذكر الجنة والنار ولا تبكي فإذا نظرت إلى القبر بكيت قال القبر أول منزل من منازل الآخرة فإن كان خيرا فما بعده خير وإن كان شرا فما بعده أشر منه. Uthman says, when he used to sit at the grave, he used to cry. So they told him, subhanAllah, you hear about Jannah and hellfire, you don't cry as much. He said, the grave is the first stage. If it's good, if I pass my test in the grave, then everything else will be easier. And if I fail, then everything else will be harder. That's why Jannah and hellfire is the last stage. We have to worry about where we're going. That's why, brothers and sisters, we did this workshop. Hope inshallah you have benefited from it. We did the full janazah, the washing, the burying the person, and inshallah may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it for his sake and beneficial to all Muslims. And inshallah, if any question, maybe you could, any question now before we finish? Now, quickly, inshallah, we have maybe 5 minutes, then we'll pray.
I went to a janazah one time, and they had us like, each person like throw dirt
That's okay to do that, no problem. It's good to throw the dirt, but at the same time it's a reminder. So you're not just doing it because you have to get involved, you're doing it so kind of remember what you're going through and what you'll be going through. Allah. Naam, go ahead. Yes. Yes.
So this process needs at least 3 people, right?
At least 3 people. If you're able to make it 2 people, it's better. If you're able to make it 1 person, you know what I mean? The minimum, the least you could get is better. So you don't expose the person who's dead. So minimum what I saw so far, from my experience, you need at least 3 people. For the sisters, you need 4 people. Because during the time that somebody's cleaning the hair, the rest of the people could be washing the body. Don't delay, especially if it's too cold and you're in a cold place. Don't delay till you finish the hair and then you go to the body. Now the hair is wet, it's cold, same thing. So for the sisters, minimum 4, I believe so. And they should be experienced, they shouldn't be trying. And for the brothers, if 3 or 4, how much you need? How many people you need? If you could do it, like when I go and I do it, I say, anybody know how to do it? They say no. Okay, I just need 1 person or 2 people from his family. Come in with me. That's it. Thank you. See, the point is, as we said, to cover it as much as possible. To make it limited to few people. Why? Because you do not trust everybody. Everybody might leave and say, you know what? Man, I don't want to tell you what I saw. Yeah, you could trust yourself. You're going to keep it quiet, but you don't know if these people are going to trust. That's why family, because most of the time if something happens that is bad, family will not say it. They're from his family. But other people from outside, that's why the person who does the ghusl, taman, is responsible. Religious responsibility. They will be asked in front of Allah. Now, look.
Regarding the prayer, some brothers Sudan used to pray in the grave side, that's okay?
That's fine. And the graves, you should not pray when the person is in the grave. You should put the kafan outside and outside by the grave, and then do the salah, and then move him to his grave, not on the grave itself. Okay? And the sunnah, by the way, of Salatul Janazah is to pray outside, like Salatul Eid. Sunnah of Salatul Janazah is to be in an open area, in an open place. So if you're able to pray in the parking lot, it's better than praying in the masjid. And if you're able to pray it in an open field, it's better than praying in a limited area. And the more lines, the better. More lines, the more shafa'ah that gives to that person. So at the grave is fine, but as long as you don't put him in the grave and then line up. No. You keep him outside, pray. That's why some of the graveyard, they have this musalla, little musalla that you could do it, which is fine, inshallah. Now,
the Janazah had an injury on their hand. Should we skip that part?
we said that. You skip that part if it's injury, or you wipe on it with a napkin that has perfume or something. If it's very harmful, leave it alone. Don't even touch it. That is fine, inshallah. Wudu is correct. Yes?
Do the people that carry the janazah take more ajr than the people that are walking with them?
Well, there is really nothing that, but there's encouragement of carrying the janazah. And there's nothing that you should say. No. Yes? Sunnah for visiting the grave, that is allowed for both brothers and sisters. The sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال لعن الله زوارات القبور. He said, may Allah curse those who visit the graves from the sister side. Well, the hadith means, the word in Arabic, you can't just take the translation and say, look what Rasulullah said. No. The word zawarat means somebody who visits regularly, every single day. He said, may Allah curse those women. Why? Because they keep renewing their sadness. So, but is it okay to visit the grave? He didn't say, may Allah curse those who visit. He said, those who regularly, like they continuously, like maybe twice a day or 3 times. And visiting the grave is a sunnah that Rasulullah said it's allowed for everybody. Everybody's allowed to go to the grave as long as they don't say anything that displeases Allah or harm the person in the grave. So the sisters are allowed to visit the graves and the brothers. No, except day of Eid. Day of Eid, you should not visit the graves. The Prophet said it's a day of happiness, not the day to bring sadness to your heart or your children. A lot of people, they have a sunnah of going to the graves in Eid day. And our countries are very famous with that. Yom al-Eid is the Yom al-Maqabr. No, it's the Yom of happiness, the day of celebration, not the day of the visiting the graves. Now,
What's your opinion, or what's the opinion of the people they live Wasiya, they want to be buried back home to their own country?
Well,
and that's when it takes like sometime, few weeks, few days.
the best of the janazah is to bury as soon as possible. Those people who does the wasiyah, he could break that wasiyah if there is benefit for them here. The Ammar, rahimahullah, like Imam Malik and others said, when is it allowed for a person to move from a place to another? If there is more virtue in being buried in that place. Like if I am in Mecca, or if I'm in Riyadh, and I say in my wasiyah, I am living in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, but if I die, please move me to Medina. Okay, the ulama says now you should do his wasiyah and move him, because you're moving him from a place to a better place. But moving him from here to Egypt, they're the same thing. Same thing. This is the land of Allah, Egypt is the land of Allah. If there is no Muslims here, and you're afraid that this person, if you bury him, will be lost among the Christians or non-Muslim, and nobody will visit him, and there is more harm, then yes, you could move him. But alhamdulillah, now we have graveyard that are only for Muslims in Livermore and Sacramento place. We have people who visit, we bury our friends there, and it's a Muslim place. I don't see any need to move. The $20,000 minimum or $30,000 that you spend on moving somebody from here to Egypt or here to Morocco or Algeria or Yemen or whatever place, that $20,000 you could build a masjid under his name for his intention, and he will get the reward. Buy masajid, buy Quran, put it in the masajid. Give it to poor people on his behalf, Allah would reward him. So there is more that you could do with that money. If not, give it to his children. They need that money instead of moving him from a place to another, because whether he's buried here, if his grave is hellfire, is going to be hellfire in America, hellfire in Egypt, hellfire in Saudi Arabia. If his place is Jannah, then his grave will be Jannah in America, Jannah in Egypt, Jannah in Saudi Arabia. There is no difference, no matter where he is. Now,
you said that if the person was burnt really bad, so how you just do, how would you perform?
tayammum. If a person is burned all over the body, then all you do is dry ablution.
But would you still shroud them? You would still put the covering over them?
Yes, yes, yeah. The covering over him is no harm, inshallah. No harm. Okay, covering over the person who's burned, there is no harm, inshallah. But the tayammum, the water might be harm. So tayammum is, and they put that, they cover him with sheet and they take him to the hospital. There is no harm in that, inshallah. Now.
If somehow more than one person passes away, if more than one person passes away,
Yes.
and they're all washed, do you pray janazah on them individually or as one?
No, you could do janazah on 20 people at the same time. Just put them in line. Men first, boys second, women third, and then girls fourth. You put them in line. That's why in Mecca and Medina they tell you, we do janazah on 10 people. 3 of them are kids. So yes, you could combine one janazah for more than one individual. And your dua will be, may Allah forgive them all. Now.
في حالة الشيخ دفن أكثر من شخص في قبر واحد، يعني حالة خاصة.
It's better to be buried in one grave. But if you have to, like our countries, no, our countries they cannot bury in one place. They don't have lahm. Like Egypt don't have no more lahm. Egypt is a room grave. So you bury 3, 4, 5 people in there, family. You could do that. Huh? He says, can you bury more than one person in one grave? Yes, if it's a big grave that fits all of them. But in America, they don't allow that. It's one person per grave. But you can.
وضعية وضع الميت يعني نفس وضع واحد يعني وضع أكثر من واحد.
تقدم الرجال وبعدين النساء. The men first and then the women next to them. Like we have in our country, graves that is called like so-and-so family grave. So anybody from that family that died, they bury them in that grave. In here in the United States, alhamdulillah, they only have one grave per person. But Rasulullah buried Mus'ab ibn Umayr and his friend in one grave. At the Battle of Uhud, when they died, he said they lived together in dunya as good friends, so bury them together in one grave, because in the Day of Judgment they'll be resurrected as friends. So Rasulullah ﷺ did it. The disagreement here, if it's a man and a woman. But inshallah there is nothing wrong if the grave fits everybody. Inshallah it will be allowed. But here there is no worry about it. Like two questions and we're finished. Go ahead, sister.
Okay, so is it true that the dua for the person is not accepted until they're buried? And then also, if is it possible to read Quran at the grave? And if so, what surah?
Okay, the condolence to give to somebody starts actually before his death. So the dua is the same thing. Like when somebody is dying, when the Rasulullah, بس يا بابا When Rasulullah sallallahu his daughter to send him that her son was dying, he made dua for her. He says, be patient. He was dying. So he gave her the condolence before his death. So the dua starts from the moment that the person gets sick and he's dead. Something that I forgot to mention in the beginning. Before any of that, you have to make sure that the person is dead. Really, before any what we did, the 2 hours that we've been talking about, you have to make sure the person is dead. Because sometimes they wash people, they bury them, and they're still alive. They pass out, they faint, they go into a coma. You can't do that. And it's very easy. Bring a mirror if you don't know, put it next to him, see if he's breathing or not, or ask a doctor. So you have to make sure of that. So the dua starts from that time and continues. You don't have to wait till he dies. What surah can you read? There is no surah that you could read on his grave. Surah Yasin, Surah Al-Mulk, Surah Al-Haqqa. All of this are just made up by people. They are not sunnah of Rasulullah. Rasulullah used to put the person in the grave and says to the companions, make dua for your brother because now he's being asked. The angels are asking him, so your dua is needed. What surah do we read? No surah. There is no surah. The ones who said read Yasin on the grave, I don't know where they came up with that. There is a surah, there is a hadith that says read Yasin while the people are dying. When they are dying, you could read Yasin because it has a reminder to them, but not after their death. So no Yasin, no Khatm al-Quran. There is no such a thing as like the Khitam and we come together and everybody read one juz and we finish the whole Quran. No. But you could read the Quran, bas yamham. You could read the Quran on his behalf, for his reward. You could say, I'm reading this surah just that Allah might benefit him and reward him for it. But not a specific surah and none of that. There's no hadith that says other than that. Yes.
You know how you said you can bury people next to each other
Yes.
in the grave?
Ah.
What if one person has been dead from before and they buried him, but they dig out the grave and then they put the other person?
No, they just move his body. Now he becomes bones, so they collect the bones together, put him on the side, and then they bring the next person in there. Because it becomes only bones and sometimes there is nothing. It's just ashes. This is one thing for the imam. People, when we bring them to the masjid, we should ask, does he owe anybody money? He owe a debt? And if he does, he shouldn't be prayed on till he pays his debt. Or the imam should not pray on him till he pays his debt. So shouldn't pray on him till he pays his debt. If somebody says, I'm going to pay his debt, then you could pray on him. But the people, they pray, but only the imam. Our time, to be honest, you could pray on him, ask Allah to forgive, and inshallah ask people that they could pay for him. Why? Because at the time of the Sahaba, when Rasulullah didn't pray, people stopped doing the haram. Our time, if the imam don't pray, people don't care. So in reality, the effect of it is no longer there. But it might be a warning. So we should ask that, does he owe anybody money? Does he have a debt that we could pay before we pray on him or before we bury him, inshallah. Inshallah, anything that we could review back on the Janazah workshop. And Jazakumullah khair all for coming and attending. May Allah make it a beneficial. We'll pray and leave, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.